Hi, everyone. Blaine Birch, co-founder and CEO at Dry Run. Online again with a great conversation today with Melissa Diaz from High Rock Accounting. We love covering some of these great finance topics that affect business owners and also the finance people that are actually advising them, such as yourself, Melissa. We just before we hopped on, we were talking about some of the things that you're working on right now with some of your clients that I found really interesting. I just wanted you to dive in and start talking about some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in January, which means we're usually setting annual budgets around this time of year. And, coming from an accounting and finance background, to me, a budget is almost just second nature. It's generally pretty easy for me to look at inputs, look at trends, and help my clients develop, reasonable expectations. What was interesting is I was working with one of my clients yesterday who is actually using your Dry Run product very successfully. And they had brought in one of their marketing people. So I was working with the owners primarily. They had brought in one of their marketing people and they were asking, where do we think our spend is going to go? Where should we be setting some of these targets? What would help you move the needle? And also, which of this spend should we expect to just maintain revenue versus actually grow revenue, right? And the marketing person was really struggling. And it seemed like in her mind, she had to have the perfect number. She had to say, well, if I give you a number that's wrong, then I don't look like I know what's going on, or I don't have the right skill set or whatever it is, right? It's a fear-based mentality about not being right. And I had to work through and coach with her that I was like, the point of the budget is not to be clairvoyant or 100% accurate. The point of the budget is to allow you to ask intelligent questions. So if we spent the budget this month and it didn't move the numbers the way we wanted to see, we should be asking why. Why did this spend not have the impact we wanted? Vice versa, if we didn't spend enough, if we maybe didn't spend our full budget and the numbers didn't move, was that because we didn't put enough behind the marketing spend? So I see this issue of paralysis happening in the budgeting process where business owners also can fall, victim to this. And they're too afraid of not being right to get out of the forest for the trees, right? To see that this is not about being right. It's about being able to ask intelligent questions.
Yeah. Interesting thing, like we do that in Dry Run, and we've actually got some really new visuals that you're going to love, because you can look back and it'll actually help highlight some of those accounts where you went way over your expectation or way under. One of the things we always call it, though, is forecast actuals, which I know is a little weird. But what I think the reason we kind of went with this sort of way of phrasing it is because I think that's part of what we've seen is the term budget feels like I'm set. This is what we're going to go with, and that we're locked in. And we like to try and soften it a bit and say this is a living document. It's a living plan. And we kind of look more like it's the start of the year. You're kind of setting your salary cap for the year for your team. But then over the year, you're going, okay, this is working, and then, that's not. And you're going to make a trade here, and you're going to move this here, and someone's going to go down to the farm, someone's going to come up, and you're doing all of these things over the year. But you have this guideline that just helps you do that. And so it's I agree with you. That was some of the things that we found was people get nervous and like I don't know why, because they think they're going to be penalized if they're off. It's like, no, sometimes actually when it's off, it's just telling you something that you may want to make some changes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's exactly the time you should be having those conversations with your team, or if you're in my position with your clients, and saying, all right, we're going to revisit this at the quarter, or we're going to revisit this in 6 months. And we may change our forecast on a go forward as a result of what the actual results were. And I think that's a really important aspect to remember too, is like you said, this is not, the Constitution here. This is a benchmark. And if we're not meeting our goals and also not meeting our benchmarks, that's where we want to start asking. But it allows us to dig in more deeply to the specific areas where we can actually identify root causes.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. This is about because it's like, well, why would I do a budget? Why would I build a forecast? Well, because you need those benchmarks, you need some of those goals, and you need to be able to figure out what was working and what isn't. It's all, to me, a huge part of it. A little bit of it is about monitoring your risk, but a lot of it is about opportunity and saying like, oh, here's an opportunity. This part, we actually can scale that back because it turned out we didn't need as much there. Reallocate these funds over here where they're going to be way more effective, wherever that is. And it's so much about opportunity, and that's where it's like, I always find it exciting when you're talking with business owners and they start to see this and they start moving things around, and it just makes their business, it's like tuning the engine. It's running better and better.
Absolutely right. And so, that's what a lot of what we do, and tools like Dry Run make it really easy. That's what's nice, is when we're using tools like Dry Run, historically, if we had to revise a whole budget, it could be a really time consuming exercise. With tools like Dry Run, it's actually pretty easy. And again, even just spot changing things or doing an entire revision.
And well, thank you for that. But I will say that the real, like, I always want to emphasize when we tell our customers all the time that are business owners, having someone that's a pro on their team, it's like the GM for your team, right? Like, so you could have a budget, you can have a forecast, you can even put it together. If you can't analyze it, figure it out, find those insights, you don't really do anything with it. And that's where pros like you, especially High Rock, can dial that stuff in, help them, see those opportunities and make the most of them. And it's like, that's how you grow a business and grow fast and grow with some systems and processes that really move the needle for you, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's an important point too, which is, not all accountants are the type of accountant that's going to be comfortable doing forecasting and future looking modeling. That is a place we personally, positioned our firm, but that's something too. Sometimes the individuals you have internally might be really phenomenal accountants, but they're not going to be that kind of finance, future looking, strategic person. And so sometimes it does help to bring someone in, even if it's just for that one piece.
Yeah, it's very much, we find that mindset. One of our other partners the other day called it, said they're always looking for staff that have innate curiosity.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. And we talk so much about mindset, and sometimes it's, again, it's adding those components to the team that you may not have. You don't have maybe that expertise, but you also maybe don't have that mindset, or you have your finance staff, a team that are working with you now, maybe don't have that mindset or capability. It's a really, really important one. Like that, reporting and all that is important too, but you need everything. You need that to succeed today. It's tough, and you need all of it together. You need that team working for you. So, and we know that's what you guys are just outstanding at. So,
well, thank you.
Chatting with you about it. I know we're coming up pretty close on our time here, so I just wanted to thank you again, Melissa, and mention, how do people track you down if they want to find you?
Absolutely. So you can go to our website at www.highrock.co, or you can reach out to us at contact@highrock.co, and it is .co, not .com.
And if you're looking for a tool to help you forecast, model scenarios, understand what's happening in your cash flow, come and visit us at dryrun.com, and we'll get you all set up.